What's going on, guys? My name is Ryan, and this is my market update for 611 going into 612. So the markets got absolutely body slammed yesterday. There wasn't a buyer in sight, and we tanked 5% down day on the comp. Dow Jones looks way worse. I like to use the comp. I've already said why, but Dow Jones looks way worse. Um, it'd be interesting to see where we go from here. Right now, futures are gapping up, and it's a good gap up. It's setting up what could be a Harami candle. I know we have a jobs report coming out in a couple hours, so that could all change by the time the open happens. I played a lot of defense yesterday. I did a smidge of offense and tons of defense, and maybe too much defense because a one-day sell-off like this, it felt very panicky, and it didn't feel like something that's going to be sustained for a long period of time. Like almost everything I sold, I think will be higher 2 weeks from now. Now, but there's no way to know that, and I'm in the risk management business, and I got killed. I can't do that twice in a row. Like yesterday, yesterday's fine. I'm down like 3% on the month or so. Like I can come back from that, but I can't take yesterday 2 days in a row. So I had to sell. I had to get smaller, and I had to make some tough choices on which stocks to get smaller on and which ones to keep. And I guess I'll show you what I'm in still. I'll show you what I did, and I'll show you a few things I'm looking at buying here today, next week, soon. So I'm in Adobe. It had earnings last night, so it's gapping up on earnings, which is real nice. I sold half of it yesterday just to protect against the gap down on earnings, and it had a weak day, and I had a bad day, so I sold half of it. So I've got a half position. It's gapping up. Um, I'm going to rebuy that half position today if it opens where it's trading right now in pre-market, because that's going to set up a kicker candle, and a kicker candle is the strongest buy signal. It's a continuation kicker. So I'm going to buy back those shares if Adobe opens here and has no tail. And then I'm going to sell Adobe if it gets below the 21-day moving average. I didn't touch my Amazon yesterday. It held the T line on a really weak day in the market, down 3% versus the market being down 5-6%. So I just held my Amazons. This is my biggest position. I'm a seller below this 21, and none of this is anywhere near where I would add on to it. It needs to like consolidate for a while for me to be able to add on to it. So if it consolidates for a while, I'll add on to it. But otherwise, I'm just going to hold. And if it goes higher, I'm going to let it go higher. Biomarin, I didn't touch this yesterday. I've got a half position in here, and I'm a seller if it gets below that 21 today. I'll probably cut it down to a quarter position and then let the other quarter go to the 50. If it's up today, I probably won't touch it, but if it's up on Monday, I think I'm going to add on to it and make it a 3/4 position. Didn't touch my Dominoes. I've got a full position in Dominoes. I'd probably reduce it if it closes below the 21. But as long as it holds that 21, I'm not going to touch this position. And I have no intentions of buying it again because it's a full position. I'd rather see it shoot up to like 440, pull back, and I'd buy it at 420 when it's pulling back or something like that. Dexcom, I sold half of this yesterday, but I've still got half, but I sold half of my half position. So I sold a quarter. I've got a quarter in this. If it's green today, I'd probably buy back that quarter. And if it's green on Monday, I'd probably make it a 3/4 position or a full position. I'm a seller at the 50, and then if it's green today, I'm going to buy a little bit more. Melly, I didn't touch this. I've got a full position in here. As long as it holds this 21, I think I'm going to stay in and not touch it because I think Melly could be one of my special stocks. And so I'm trying to hang in this one for the big move because this is just a powerful uptrend that it's got going on. So I'm a seller below the 21, and this is nowhere near an area where I would add on to it, this kind of setup. So I wouldn't add on to it any time in probably the next week. Netflix, I'm a seller below 420 today. So if it like closed below, I'd probably let it trade below 420, but if it closed below 420, I would sell this. I'm probably a buyer if it closes on the high today. So I'd probably add on to this. This is a full position, but I might make it a little bit fatter of a position than a full position just because the stop is so cheap. Let's say it closes at 440 today, then that makes my stop 4% ish, and my buy point's at 420 right now. So if I add a few shares at 440, they'll probably bump it up to like 425. So then I'm talking a $5 risk on a monster position, $5 per share. It's really low risk for a chance to go way higher. So I probably would add on to this one today if it closes strong. PayPal, I didn't touch this. I've got a little over a half position in PayPal. If it were to close below the 21, I would make it smaller. And then at this point, I'd probably wait for it to have a day up to 160 before I add on. Regeneron, didn't touch this yesterday. Got a full position in here. I'd sell it below the 21. I don't think I'd buy it today, even though if today it has an up day, it would be a buy signal because it's negating that sell signal from yesterday. Because that's a sell signal, so that's a worrisome. It's a left-right combo engulfing candle through the T line, higher volume. But it was only down 1% on a day. The market's down 5%. So if today's a Harami type candle, that's probably a buy. I won't buy it though. I'll probably pass on it from a risk management standpoint. Shopify, I bought that Thursday and I bought a quarter position. It really wasn't down that much yesterday, so I went ahead and held it. If it's green today, I'll probably make it a half position and then I'm selling it right around 700. Tandem, I've got a half position in here. Held this yesterday. I'm down about 1% or so on it, 1.5. Yeah, I'm a seller below yesterday's low, and I'd definitely add on to it today if it's green and going through the T line and make it probably 3/4. Take two. This is my only offense I played yesterday. I bought this yesterday near the close, and I just bought it because it's really strong. Was barely down yesterday. Held the T line. Light volume. Felt like one that's going higher. I love the video game stocks. This is my favorite video game stock. I went for it. The earnings are great on this company. So what did I do yesterday? I did a lot. I sold half my Adobes. I already told you, to mitigate risk going into earnings. I took a 3.5% loss on AMD. I sold it about where it's trading right now. It looks like 54.50, which is where the T line was yesterday. This one might set back up, but I don't think I'm going to play it again. I keep getting chopped in this, which I'm sure is right before it finally goes, but I probably won't come back to this one. I took a 4% loss on a quarter position of Chegg. I'm willing to buy Chegg. I got to wait till the end of the day. I need a day where it closes with no hair, but I'm willing to buy Chegg today if it closed above the T line. I feel very good that Chegg's going to work. I just don't want to hang on to it, and because it could have a down day to $50 and still be a buy if it were to resolve to the upside. So it might start going here, or it might have like one more huge sell-off then go. So I don't want to stay in it in case it goes down again, but I think ultimately like 2 months from now Chegg is way higher. So this is one I'm willing to buy if it sets up. But I sold it and I'm out of it right now. DaVita, I took my loss near the open for somewhere around 2.5, 3%. Dexcom, I took a 3.5% loss on what I sold on that half. Facebook, this was a tough call. I didn't really want to sell Facebook because it's one of my winners, and I think Facebook's going to go a lot higher, especially if my time frame is a month from now. I think Facebook's higher a month from now. But on a day like yesterday, and when the market gets weak, and there is a chance that the market sells off again, and there's no guarantees. We're gapping up right now, but there's no guarantees that we'll be gapping up by the time the market opens. So I went ahead and sold this for a 7% and some change gain. Microsoft, this was another one just like Facebook. I didn't really want to sell it, but I did. Sold it for about a 4% gain. ServiceNow, I sold this one yesterday. I think I'm willing to rebuy this one still because it's a great company. It's just chopping in this range. I think I'm willing to rebuy it again. I might not, but I took a 2.5% loss on this one. Tesla, I still like Tesla, but I went ahead and sold it because it's just been hot in the short term. It's probably going to pull back, bounce, go higher. I think Tesla ends up going higher from here. But I'm in the risk management business, and I sold this for a 10% gain. Vertex, I went ahead and killed this yesterday because it closed below the 50 like that. Looks like I took about a 3.5% loss on the whole position. This is one I'm actually willing to rebuy today too, because if it catches at the 50, I want back in because that means 260 is your stop. So it's got a really cheap stop, and I really think this is going to resolve to the upside ultimately. So this is one I'm actually looking to rebuy today. I wouldn't buy back my whole position, but I'd start, with maybe half and then see what Monday does and buy the other half if it's up, something like that. And then lastly, I sold Zen for a 3% loss. So I sold Zen for a 3% loss. And that was my day yesterday. So It's tough to say. I'm in the interpreting business, or not the predicting business, so I don't really like giving predictions. I like to just interpret what happened. Yesterday was thumbs down, not thumbs down enough to run for the hills, but not good enough to be excited. I mean, that's weak. If I had to give it percentages like a weather forecast, I'd probably say there's a 50% chance that we're right near a low in the market over the next 1 to 10 trading days. We'll chop around this 21-day moving average and resolve to the upside. That's probably a 50% chance. 40% chance that we enter into a more serious correction that probably takes us down to the 50 or the 200, and then we finally get buying support and shoot back up. And then maybe a 10% chance that this market gets really sick and goes back into another bear market and sells off, and cash would be the position that we'd all want to be in. So, because it's a coin flip, I would say at this point, with yesterday's action, at best, it's a coin flip at best that we're going to be higher over the next 1 to 5 trading days. I sold. I got smaller. Now, if today's an up day, I'd probably buy a couple stocks. I won't get all my exposure back to where I was because I don't do all or none decisions. But I'll probably up my exposure today if today's an up day, and then go into the weekend with a decent amount of risk. And then if today is a day that ends up being a down day, I'll get smaller, play more defense, really stick to the stocks that I think are special, and protect myself against the worst case scenario because I don't know what's going to happen next. I can just I can make probabilistic bets, and that's what I do. So I mentioned a few stocks that I like going into the day, like Vertex, probably being my favorite, Vertex or Chegg. Aside from Vertex or Chegg, I'll just go quick. These are just things that I found scanning this morning. BJ, I still like BJ. I lost some money in this thing, but if BJ can close above the T line, I like that. That's real bullish looking. I like Okta, it needs to close above the T line, but that looks very bullish to me. Wix, same thing. If this thing can get above the T line, this is probably a buy. I think this is one you have to buy during the day because of how volatile it is. But I like the way that chart looks. EDU, I like the way EDU looks. It looks to me like a cup with handle, and this is the handle forming. So if it were to give a decent day today, that'd be an early entry into this stock. I still like this GSX. It needs to get above this downtrend line, but I would buy it if it had a good day today, possibly. I like Wingstop if it can get above the T line. I like Team if it can give me some kind of nice candle. It might need to tap the 50 before it's ready, but this is a watch list for sure. 5.9 got support at the 50, and it's made some kind of a square box here. And 5.9 is one I actually made money on. I made about a 25% gain in this in April. So I think 5.9 could reset up and go higher. So I like 5.9. I actually like Nintendo. Look at this. Nintendo yesterday in a super weak market closed over this downtrend line. We'll see where it opens today, but I wish I would have found that yesterday. I didn't find that until I scanned this morning, but I probably would have bought that yesterday instead of take 2 if I had saw that because that looks really bullish to me. I like NVIDIA. NVIDIA looks better on a weekly chart. It's got 5 weeks tight right here near all-time highs. I wouldn't buy big, but I'd buy in, put my stop at the 20-day, and see what happens. So I like the way NVIDIA looks. Twilio, I like the way that looks. It's making a flat base right up here. I wouldn't buy big, but it's something I might start a position in. This Teradyne, I see this as a handle forming on Teradyne. I wouldn't want it today, but this is more of a watch list to see if this handle forms a bullish handle. And then this one I like a little more, even though it's speculative, so I wouldn't buy big, and it's also cheap. But it's this Chinese IPO, and looks like it's gapping up in pre-market, and that's some kind of handle that's formed. Crazy earnings on this company. I like the way it looks. I wouldn't buy big, though. I like Wheaton. I still do. I would want to see Wheaton close good today, so I probably wouldn't buy this till the close. But I like Wheaton. And yeah, there's several ideas that I'm looking at today. Of all those ideas, I'd probably only take one of them. So whichever one looks the best by the end of the day would be the one I'd probably go for. But yeah, all together, let's do this. Let's crush this market today. As always, think for yourself. I'm this is an educational video. I'm not giving advice. I'm not giving recommendations. I'm telling you what I'm doing and what I'm thinking and showing you what I'm doing each day. Think for yourself. Trading's very risky, and I just put videos out there that I think I would have liked to bump into when I started trading. So let's crush it today, guys. Let's make some money.